Welcome to the Peace and Parenting Podcast. I'm Michelle, and I have a guest, Taylor, who is going to come on and ask some parenting questions. Taylor, introduce yourself.
I'm Taylor. I am from Utah. I have three boys, and I'm pregnant with baby number four, who's a girl due in September.
Yay. Okay. And Taylor and I were just talking offline for a minute, and I was like, you know what? Let's just get into it. So, Taylor, if you don't mind, will you tell us a little bit about your childhood background so we can then get started on some of these questions?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was raised in an extremely chaotic home, where everything was just straight to yelling.
Yeah.
Um, do this right now because I said so. All of those things.
Right.
I lived most of my teenage years without a door. um, no privacy. I was basically on house arrest, wasn't allowed to do anything other than school and sports and church activities and then home.
Oh my God.
Um, and then when I was 17, my parents sent me to one of those troubled teen schools. So I spent 10 months in southern Utah in a lockdown facility,
I
essentially just counting down
I
till I
just like
turned 18.
that like breaks my heart when I heard it the first time and now hearing it again. Like, I'm sorry. That must have been really hard.
It was definitely not easy.
No.
So all of this stuff has kind of just come to a head where I have to deal with this,
Yeah.
and face it instead of keeping it kind of tucked away. It's something I haven't really thought about or talked about for I've been out of the facility for 12 years. I've been an adult for 12 years. Now it's all kind of coming to a head. So I went no contact with my parents in April, and I've kind of shifted my focus onto healing from all of this stuff so that I can be better for my children
Yeah.
going forward.
Good for you.
So,
That's not easy. Good for you.
yeah,
Lots of people don't do that. So your kids are lucky.
thank you.
Yeah. So what is it that's hard right now?
So I would say my biggest issue with parenting is keeping my own emotions regulated and kind of unlearning that yelling is going to be the easiest way to get a response from my children. And they're young, they're babies. They're 5 and 3 and almost 2. So it's not like I'm dealing with teenagers or older kids or anything that might not be hearing me or whatever. It's just they're babies, and I'm feeling really guilty
Mhm.
for the way that I have been treating them. I'm not horribly mean, but I've jumped straight to yelling because
Yeah.
that's all I know.
Yeah. Of
Yeah,
course.
of course. Is how to yell to get
It's
attention.
yeah, and
Yeah,
it's not like you're some horrible person and that you want to yell at your kids, and I think, first of all, like, forgive yourself for that being your default because it's not your fault.
yeah,
You don't know any we don't yeah, I came from a yelling family too, like, I didn't know any better, and I didn't know where else to go with my emotions except for to yell at my kids.
yeah,
Yeah, and so, just first that's the first piece, we're gonna be kind to ourselves around our yelling and forgive ourselves every time we yell and every time we mess up, we're gonna very quickly forgive ourselves.
ourselves.
So that's the first
So
step.
that's the first step.
Because when we don't, then we get stuck in this loop of shame and anger
Yeah,
and upset, and then it makes us yell more because we're feeling so bad about ourselves that we're in a bad place when we come back to our parenting.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Because I definitely end up in the loop,
Yeah.
yelling and then just stuck. And then it feels like the whole day is ruined. It doesn't matter what I do. I feel like I can't come back
Yeah.
from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can and you will. So What have you done that works as far as to help yourself? Is it the yelling you're mostly worried about and just the dysregulation?
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And just yeah, I wrote some things down. Let me just like
Yeah.
yeah, and just like letting go of like silly things and like the control and feeling like I need to be telling them what to be doing all the time
Right.
when they're in my space, like when they're in my sight.
Yeah.
Because they go outside, they play, and I don't think twice about what's going on.
Right.
But the second I can see them, it's like, why are you doing that? Don't do that. Don't touch that. Put that away. Why are you
Yeah.
getting more toys out? Why? And then it's just the rapid fire
Yeah. I think this
questions and demands.
and it also goes back to this idea of expectations. Like your parents had these very high
High
expectations of you,
expectations of you of the
obviously.
audience.
Yeah.
So they expected you to do everything right and be the perfect kid and be I don't know what they expected, but they probably had high expectations of you. If you had your didn't have a door on your bedroom, I'm assuming that they were really hard on you as far as what they expected.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you remember what that felt like?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we don't want your sweet babies to feel like that. So I think for these toddlers, we got to take the expectations down to the ground.
Right.
They can't do anything. They really can't. They're not going to clean up their toys. They are not going to be nice to their brother. They are not going to sit and eat nicely. They are always going to say the wrong thing. They are going to not do as you ask. Just really expect all of that every single day
Okay.
because then you can't be shocked.
Yeah.
And know that every kid you know that's a toddler is just the same. They're all doing these things. They really are.
Okay.
So
Well,
when you
that's
get
hard.
yeah, that's right. It is hard. But I think if we come if we come in expecting them to be like organized, neat, quiet
Right.
individuals, we're really setting ourselves up for a lot of failure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, do you notice when you start to get upset and you want to yell, do you notice what happens to your body?
Um, kind of.
Like I know I get hot in my chest
Yeah.
and my heart starts to beat really quickly. My hands get sweaty and I start to get red in the face.
Yeah.
Do you have any like physical things that happen?
I think me, I get out of breath really quickly. Like I lose my breath, and that could definitely be pregnancy related also.
Yeah.
But just I lose my breath, and like all thoughts are gone.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing rational going through my head at all. I am just
Angry.
angry. I'm
Yeah.
just frustrated, and all I
Yeah.
can see are the things that I'm angry about.
Okay. So if you know when you get there, if you know it's like this is the place where I blank out, that is your moment to make a different choice.
Okay.
That is your moment to say to myself, okay, I don't see anything in my head. I see red. I am not thinking at all. Now I know this is not the time to open my mouth.
Yeah.
I must close my mouth and walk away. Literally just walk
Literally
away.
just walk away.
Do do you at some point, I mean, you obviously come back and have a conversation.
I would say if you can
Let's say
muster it, I would say, you
Clears.
know what? Mommy's got to go potty right now. I just have to go to the bathroom. We don't want to blame them. Like, I have to leave because you're
Yeah.
making me mad. But if you can make an
Right.
excuse, like I need to go to the bathroom, I have to do an email, I got to make a phone call really quick. If you can get to that place, if you can only walk away, that's fine. But if you could say, I have to use the restroom and you just go in the bathroom and calm down, and then you can come back and hopefully you can engage in a way that's
in a way
calm.
that's calm.
Okay.
There's that
There's
pause
that part.
where we, you know, we can tell things aren't going well, and
going well,
sometimes
and
we're on at the
sometimes we're
fruit tree
on at
and
the
we're just,
we're just
I'm gonna
I'm
I
gonna
gotta yell. I'm gonna get this thing through. I'm going all the way to the end. I'm gonna make everyone feel bad because they're not doing what I want to do. And we get on this like track and we can't get off. And if you can get yourself to stop before you get on that train, it's can make a huge difference.
Right. My husband and I had a conversation about this. I don't know. It's been a while. We have really good conversations every once in a while. We're just so bad at implementing some of these things for longer than, 2, 3 days or whatever
Yeah.
happens. But one thing that we were trying to implement was to, when we noticed the other person kind of getting to the edge of where they needed to kind of move away, we would prompt them to go do something. It was like a silly task, like, do you need to go put the pillows on the
Yes.
bed? Or like
Yes.
something like that. That was kind of like oh, I'm getting over the edge. I need to leave and let this person,
Yes.
let the other one take over. I think we really struggle. We have these conversations. We know we don't want to be doing the yelling and we don't want to be doing all of this stuff. The implementation and the follow through for longer than 2 or 3 days seems to be so difficult for us.
I would say that, it's like a diet and people will be like, "Oh, I broke my diet. I ate chocolate cake and now my diet is ruined."
Yeah.
Or is it more like,
more like
yeah, 2 or 3 days I was really good and then I yelled, and then guess what? 2 or 3 more days I was really good and then I yelled, and is that just gonna have to be your pattern and the way in which you guys learn? Every time you don't yell, it's a neural pathway that's cemented in your brain. But just because you yell doesn't mean you just throw it all away.
Right.
I yelled a month ago. I yelled because the garage door stopped working and we had to go to school and my car got trapped in the garage and I couldn't get out and I was like screaming at everybody and I was like, "Oh my God, you call an Uber. Like, what did you do?" Like blaming people when it wasn't their fault and like screaming at everyone. And I was like, so you might never get rid of it.
yeah.
But if you do it, once every 3 months, that's a lot better than once every 3 days.
Yeah.
But you just get back on that wagon. You just get back on your train. You just keep working hard at it and don't give up. Don't give up.
That's fair. I'm gonna need to put sticky notes on like the fridge and the
Don't give up.
pantry
You can
door.
do it. No more yelling. You're on the right track. Yes, encourage yourself and encourage each other. Don't feel defeated when you mess up. And I think that's part of our old upbringing too, right? How were mistakes treated in when you were growing up?
It was the end of the world.
Right. And so now when you make a mistake, it's the end of the world. And you probably beat yourself up.
Yeah.
Nope.
Cool. It's so hard to like turn that switch off.
I know.
The stuff that you were told for years and years and years and years and years and years and years to be not true.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to turn that.
It's hard. The
Yeah.
other piece is that when you're not punishing your kids and when you're not getting mad at them for their mistakes, you're also healing yourself.
Yeah.
So you get to have double kind of therapy in it all, right? You get to like work on yourself. And then when you see yourself doing it right with your kids, you're like, yes, they don't have to live with that when they're 18.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other piece is that we want to get more connected to the kids so that they don't act like crazy people all the time. So they are crazy people because they're toddlers. And so it's hard. But if we can put in some connection pieces, hopefully we decrease their disconnect and we can decrease lack of cooperation. We can decrease sibling rivalry. We can decrease off-track moments. And if we do that, then we're working on ourselves and we're staying calm. And then we're also getting a little bit better behavior because we have kids who feel more connected.
Right.
So I'd say daily special time if you're not doing it. That one's super important. 20 minutes a day because you have 3.5 kids. It might be really hard, but maybe you and your husband can trade off and do every other day where each kid gets a chance to be in charge. It's their 20
Okay.
minutes. They get to do whatever they want, and you have to follow their lead.
Follow their lead.
And that
And
will really increase cooperation, because I think a lot of the reasons why we yell is because our kids don't cooperate.
Yeah.
Special time helps with cooperation.
Yeah.
Connection too.
Yeah. I do notice that. I mean, most mornings I try to make a big good morning, like, how'd you sleep? How are you? Love you, miss you. Like, make them feel good, like, first thing in the morning. I do notice that when we have those, they're like really quick to just offer help without like even asking. Like, my 5-year-old's like, oh, this is a mess in here. I'm gonna put all the books away. It's like 7:30 in the morning. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
How do we keep that
So you just
momentum going all day? Because then I turn on, I've got to do the laundry and I need to make you guys breakfast and we got to rush off to the gym so we're not late for daycare and we've got to do all this stuff. And then I'm in rush mode. So, okay, so with the 20 minutes special time, is that each kid every day?
and each parent with each kid every day. Sorry.
That's okay.
It works. It really does. And
Yeah.
you just said it yourself, but if you're really dedicated to it, it'll keep connection flowing more.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think there's something in society around rushing and getting things
Yeah.
done that becomes a mommy thing. And if we can kind of unravel that too, like, is it okay if you're late to the gym?
Not more than 15 minutes or they charge you $3 per kid.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, we've got 15 minutes. So we can have 15 minutes. Like, if you can just say, okay,
Yes.
I have 15
Yeah.
minutes. I'm not going to, because nobody likes to be rushed, especially a 5-year-old
Especially
and
a
a
5-year.
3-year-old. They don't like to be rushed. And the more we rush, I think they can feel it. I think they vibe off of it, and it doesn't make anything feel better. So if you just say, listen, if I'm 5 minutes late, it's okay.
Yeah.
And maybe some days you will be 5 minutes late. And if they don't take pity on the woman with 3 kids and pregnant, then shame on them.
I know.
Shame
We're
on them.
canceling soon, so it's okay.
Okay, good. They don't seem very flexible. I don't like that. But I think, your to-do list is less important than the relationship you share with your kids.
Mhm.
And you don't wanna damage your relationship just to get your to-do list done.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's for sure reflection on how I was
Raised
raised. The list, their list was more important than
the
me.
relationship. That's right.
So,
So you wanna unravel that in your house. So if
yeah.
anytime you can put aside the laundry, anytime, I'm not saying let it all go and don't do anything, but I'm saying anytime you can set it aside and say, "Guess what? We're gonna play hide and go seek." "Hey, guess what, guys? We're not gonna do the dishes this morning. Forget the dishes. We're gonna go outside and play tag," or whatever it is. Like, can you, sometimes let go to just get bonded with the kids?
Yeah. I don't know how to let go. I've been so high strung for so long. I mean, I was a rebellious teenager against those strict rules and high expectations. I was fairly rebellious, and then once I left that school, I kind of just conformed,
Mhm.
just did what I had to do to try to keep the peace as best as I could
Mhm.
and kind of meet those expectations and then created expectations for myself. And I think one of the issues that I did kind of bring into parenting was not wanting to be exactly like them. So I needed to be the exact opposite, which put a different set of high expectations on myself.
Yes. Yes.
And I need to just let go of all of the expectations and focus on creating a relationship with them. Like, you see those reels on Instagram all the time that are like, you only
Yeah.
have them for 18 summers and
Yeah.
blah, blah, and you only have this many days and this many hours and stuff. And I'm like sobbing because I'm
Yeah.
like, my oldest is already 5. So I've already like lost some of that time there.
No. Now you're
And I'm
beating
like, I
yourself
really
up.
just want to focus on. So it's a cycle. That's what my journal is. My journal is just the
Yes.
same circle almost every single day.
Yes. So I think just really saying to yourself, you know, you don't expect to be the perfect mom.
Don't
You're
expect to
not
be the
going to be the
perfect mom.
perfect mom.
You're not going to be the perfect.
There's no way that doesn't exist. So, can you do it
So
good enough?
can you do it good enough?
And isn't that better than trying to do it perfectly and then failing and then beating yourself up and then punishing yourself up and then thinking like I can't do it cuz I yelled again and so I'm just not going to do anything. So it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect at this, and I think you hit on something that I think many people struggle with. We don't wanna do it like our parents did it, but then we try so hard to do it the other way that we almost put, like, so much pressure on ourselves to do it the other way, and we create this whole other conundrum.
Yeah. Because then I'm in this spiral of beating myself up at the end of every day. Like, we could have a solid day, but that one thing that I said at 12:30 when I was trying to get the youngest down for a nap or whatever just like sticks, and I'm like, well, tomorrow I'm going to do that. We're going to have the same day, but I'm not going to say that thing. But then I
Yeah.
like set myself up to just have this horrible day because
Yeah.
I'm so focused on not making those mistakes that I kind of sit and end up making a different set of mistakes.
Why don't you have a journal that is just everything, all your wins? Every time you do something good, you're gonna put it in a journal, just a little separate tiny journal that's just wins. Because I think you're not recognizing all the good stuff you're doing, Taylor.
Yeah.
You're probably doing some incredible stuff with those kids, and you're like, you already think you ruined your 5-year-old. You did not. He's fine.
Yeah.
He's okay.
He's good.
Yeah, I'm sure he's great. He cleaned up the toys. Parents who are gonna listen to this are gonna be like, "What's she talking about? She has a 5-year-old that cleans up toys? Send him my house." I mean, I have a hard time getting my 15-year-old to clean up anything.
Yeah. He's quick to point out things. He sings all those Daniel Tiger songs to me, you know.
Love him.
If you feel so mad that you want to roar, take a deep breath and count to 4. And he sees me get like on the edge and starts singing Daniel Tiger, and like sometimes I laugh and sometimes I'm like, that pushed me over. I'm going. Do not sing Daniel Tiger to me.
What if you told him actually, what if you said, "You know what? You can tell mommy when she's yelling at
Yeah.
you that she can't yell at you."
Yeah.
Maybe give him the permission to use Daniel Tiger and give him permission to tell you that you can't yell at him.
Yeah, that it was one of those instances with him where I was yelling at him that kind of pushed me back in like end of Marchish to kind of take all of this head on,
Mhm.
where I was yelling. I don't
Mm.
even remember what about, and he's sobbing, and he ran away from me, and he came back to me later, still crying, and told me that I scared him.
Yes.
And it was just like me looking at him crying. I just saw me, like baby Taylor,
Yeah.
trying to say that to my parents without getting in trouble
Yeah.
for saying that I was scared by something
Isn't
they did, or that I was hurt by something that they did too. or at me. And so that kind of was like ooh, I'm scaring him and I'm hurting him.
Yes.
Yes.
And
And
he also was able to tell you and you heard it. So you're already doing so
heard it.
much better than your parents, and you're not recognizing
you're
it or acknowledging what a great job you're doing.
I'll write it down.
Yes, write it down.
So
Write it down in your positivity journal.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I've never realized that I am not giving myself credit for the things that I'm doing.
Yep. Well, your parents probably
Because
never gave you credit.
Yeah, because I'm so focused on we yelled today or we did this or we did that I'm not even thinking about the rest of the day was
Good.
great.
Yeah. And also probably because your parents always focused on the negative and the wrong and the mistakes and the
Yeah.
punishment and that whatever. So that's how you've been wired. That also isn't your fault.
Yeah.
But let's start recognizing the
recognizing-
good, amazing things that you're doing, the differences you're making in your kid's life than you had, all the positive moments and all the good work you're doing over there.
Definitely needed someone other than my husband and my best friend to like
Tell you. Good.
say something.
Yeah. I bet it's way better than you think it is.
Yeah.
You are not alone in your yelling.
You're yelling.
I yell too.
Yell too.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Anything else that's come up that's been hard that you wanted? Anything on your list that you wrote down over there?
I think the last when we talked about that, the last thing is kind of just how to like I don't know. You hear the word boundaries and I feel like it's kind of one of those words now that like everybody uses, everyone talks about and blah 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 that I like hate even using the word.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
there's obviously things that my kids can't do
Yeah.
that's harmful and hurtful and when they do those things, when they are hurt, I mean they're 3 boys. They like wrestle and they would throw things at each other and they hit and they like
Yeah.
I didn't realize that would start so young, but like they do those things and someone gets hurt, like, or they're hurting each other on purpose, or they're saying mean things to each other. Like, 5-year-old has started to like tell his younger brother that he's stupid, and I'm just like, where did you even like decide that was something that you needed to tell them? Like, what without punishment, right? Because that's
Not going to work.
that's not going to work. But like, how do I handle those things that are clearly just not?
Yeah. So it sounds like you're talking about sibling rivalry, really.
Yeah.
Okay. So not really limits and boundaries, but let's talk about sibling rivalry because I think that's more
Right.
helpful than limits and boundaries. Here's what I'll say about limits and boundaries and just as a, like an overview. When a child is doing well and connected and happy and in a good place, when you tell them no, they're fine with it. When you say we can't do this or we can't do that or we can't, they're fine. When a kid is disconnected and not doing good and you say no or you say we can't or you get put a limit or boundary on someone, they have a hard time. So limits and boundaries aren't about limits and boundaries. Limits and boundaries are really more useful when you have connection.
Okay.
That's what I'll say about limits and
What I'll say
boundaries.
about
I could go on a whole huge tangent that I'm not going to go on because I don't think that's helpful for you. I think what's helpful for you
for you.
the sibling rivalry.
Okay. And so that kind of just goes back to that 20 minutes.
Nope. I'll
Nope.
give you a whole new thing. Do the
Okay.
20 minutes, but
Okay.
when you see the kids starting to fight, get in there right away. Don't let them
Okay.
don't let them, keep going. Don't leave it for them to figure out. Don't, you know, I know, my dad would be like, "I'll let them fight it out. They'll be fine. Don't do that."
Yeah.
Come right in and say, "Hold on, guys. What's happening here? What's happening?" And you might have to get your body in between, even if you're pregnant, you might have to get your body in between and kind of pry them apart. And you ask one child, "What happened?" And he'll say, "He's bothering me. He took my toy. He did this. He did that." And you empathize. "Oh, he took your toy. Oh, he hit you. No, oh my goodness. This is so hard. You guys are struggling. Okay, let me talk to your brother." You talk to his brother. The brother says, "Well, he took my toy first, and he's so mean, and he called me stupid. Oh, he took your toy and he called you stupid. Man, I'm sorry. This is hard, guys. This is really hard." You listen to them because they're offline. And what you want to do is get them back online, and empathy gets them back online. Empathy for both of them as long as you can, because you want them to feel heard, because you're trying to get them to calm down.
Right.
Always remember, in a sibling fight, nobody's right and nobody's wrong. Even if somebody hits or calls somebody else stupid, it doesn't mean that they're wrong, because we don't know what happened before. We don't know what happened 2 weeks ago. We don't know what happened 2 hours ago. We don't know any of this stuff. So it could be retaliation, and everybody plays a part in these fights. And when we tell a child, "You're wrong, don't do that, you can't say stupid. We don't say stupid in this house. Where did you hear that? You can't call your brother that. He's not stupid, blah, blah, blah." Now that child thinks we've taken the other child's side. He knows he's not supposed to say stupid. He understands. He's 5 years old. He knows he's not supposed to say that, and he knows what it means, and he knows he's being mean, but he's in a bad place, and he didn't know what else to do. Just like when we're yelling. We don't need someone to tell us. We don't need someone to sing us Daniel Tiger when we yelled. He doesn't need someone to say, "Don't call him stupid," because he already knows, even though he's 5. So then when you can get them calmed down, if you can't get them calmed down, then that's it. You just separate, and that's the end of it. If you can get them to calm down, you can say, "Guys, what should we do next time so this doesn't happen? Child A, what do you think?" "He shouldn't push me." "Okay, child B, what do you think?" "He shouldn't call me stupid." "Well, that sounds good. I think that these are good ideas, guys. Let's try to do that from now on, okay?" That's it. No blame, no shame. Nobody's in trouble. No one's wrong. No one's right, because we don't want a victim and we don't want a villain. We want just 2 kids having a conflict where nobody has to feel like they are wrong, or nobody has to feel like mommy's coming to my aid because I'm the victim, and she's
Yeah.
always going to be on my side, and she's always going to tell my brother that he's wrong, and so I'm protected. We don't want that either.
That makes sense.
Make sense? Okay, good.
Yeah.
That should be super helpful, I think. You'll have to
Yeah.
practice with it a bunch.
Yeah.
But over time, it'll work itself out.
Yeah. Because I do the first thing I do, like, what's happening here.
Yeah.
But then, like, I just don't even want to get involved.
I
So I
know.
try to just, like, send them off to their own. You go do this, you go do that, and move away from it instead of kind of moving into it, de-escalating, game plan, and then
Yeah.
sending them on their way.
We want them to resolve their conflict, and sometimes we have to teach them how. And sometimes you'll have to say, "Okay, child A, tell child B how you feel. Tell him, I don't like it when you hit me." "Okay, yeah, you told him." "Okay, child B, you tell your brother now. How did it feel?" "I don't like it when you call me stupid." You can really coach them into talking to one another as they get used to it, as they get older, as the little one becomes more verbal, as the third one becomes verbal. Now you're going to have like this 3-way thing going on. And so you're going to have maybe 3 people to de-escalate. And so you keep progressing with this coaching.
Okay.
And pretty soon they'll be able to do it themselves. Okay.
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay. What was the most helpful thing that we talked about?
I think, I mean, first of all, just having a third party tell me I'm I'm doing good
Yeah.
is helpful. I'm like trying not to cry. And then let's see, I was writing down little snippets. I do think that that whole what we just talked about, the sibling rivalry and how to kind of de-escalate that is huge. Because
Yeah.
we that's a every single day, multiple times an hour
I'm sure.
thing that I'm dealing with. And so having a little bit more to build on to kind of hopefully facilitate that. And then the daily special time.
Yeah. Yep. Good.
Yeah. Good.
Taylor, you're
Taylor,
doing
you're
amazing.
doing
You
amazing.
I mean, from your background to where you are now and all the things that you're doing that are differently, you should really, really be proud of yourself.
Thank you.
Your kids are lucky.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing with me. I really appreciate it. And thank you for following and being one of my people. It's been such a pleasure to get to know you.
Get to know you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I
Thank you.
appreciate the help.
Okay.
Okay. Let me
I'll see you somewhere